ராகுல் காந்தி தூத்துக்குடியில் வழக்கறிஞர்களுடன் கலந்துரையாடி வருகிறார். நேரலையில்
Sedition law, killing of people, threatening of people, these are all symptoms of the problem. But the problem is that concentration of capital has combined with the organization of the RSS and has disturbed, and I would say actually destroyed, the institutional balance in the country. There are multiple other balances that have also been destroyed. Remember that India is a union of states. So all the states come together to form the nation. When you destroy the institutional balance of the country, you also destroy the negotiation between the states. Because if all the states do not have equal say, then the power balance between those states is disturbed. And that is a serious problem for any country. This is what we are facing. And I think the spirit of this meeting is to understand what is happening and to defend the Indian nation and India's institutions from this brutal assault that is taking place. And I think that is why we are having this conversation today. Please feel free to give me your opinions and your questions.
We have some questions. Hello? There's some questions which are this thing. So can I call V.A. Krishna Kumar?
I always have a question, especially when I used to be working in Uttar Pradesh in campaigning, and it's really hot. And I have the luxury of coming here in a shirt, and you have to wear this suit and shirt and all this. So I'm feeling hot just looking at you. Sorry.
Mr. V.A. Krishna Kumar?
After BJP came to power, they have either purchased the MLAs or threatened the MLAs by NIA, CBI and income tax. And that's why the MLAs are switched over to BJP. Though the people give full mandate to the Congress MLAs, but because of this threatening, they have switched over their loyalty to BJP. This is what happened recently in Pondicherry. So my question is whether the state leaders fails to choose right persons for MLA candidates and how to curb this.
Choosing the right MLA candidate, please sit. Choosing the right MLA candidate is just one component of the problem. If we look at Madhya Pradesh, attempt in Rajasthan, Goa, attempt going on in Jharkhand, Pondicherry, Arunachal, these are all Congress governments. These are all governments where people gave the mandate to us. And concentration of capital took the mandate away from us. I know the amount of money that was thrown at the MLAs in Madhya Pradesh. I know the amount of money that was thrown at the MLAs in Rajasthan. We are talking massive amounts of money. Right? And so, when you have one party that is fighting the election with thousands and thousands of crores, and you have other political parties that are not allowed to raise finance, that financiers who would like to support opposition parties come and say that, look, we understand what you're standing for. We support what we are standing for. But if we give you 1 rupee, our business will be destroyed. I've had that conversation. where they say, we want to support you, but if we support you, it means that our business will be destroyed and so we cannot support you. So on one side, you have capture of all institutions. You have a monopoly on finances. You have a monopoly on the media. And on the other side, you've got political parties that are not allowed to compete. When they form governments against all odds, their mandates are taken away from them. So, where is this heading? It is, see, as a political person, as a political leader, normally, in a democracy, I require institutional support. I require a media that is objective. I require a judiciary that is aggressive. I require the ability to speak in the Parliament House. All those have been taken away from us. We are not, I'm telling you, we are not allowed to speak in Parliament. Literally, we're not allowed to speak in Parliament. So where is this heading? There is only one way this thing is going to get resolved, and that is mass action. When the ordinary citizen of this country realizes that this country now is not being run by his mandate, but is being run by force, is being run undemocratically. And that is where this is going. And you can see this beginnings of this mass movement, you can see it. It's in the borders of Delhi when they passed the farm laws. So the stirrings are there. But as a political person, in my entire career before 2014, I had never imagined a situation where I will have no institutional support whatsoever. So I've given you a long answer because, frankly, even if we put in the right MLAs in place, it's not enough. Because the power is so high, strong and so heavy that even that MLA will not be able to sustain it. And then the question arises, what happens after we come to power? What happens? Because there is full penetration of all institutions. There is penetration of the judiciary. There is penetration of the media. There's penetration of the bureaucracy. So what do we do once we come to power? Because we're going to have to deal with 15 years of judges who have been placed into the judiciary because they support one political party. So this is going to be a huge challenge for this country going forward.
Okay. There's also a related question from VZ Victor about the anti-defection law. Mr. Victor in the audience.
I just want to check. Was any law can be made to amend the anti-defection law? I mean, in case MLAs are just going to different parties, but I just want to say, in case the parties, the voters are voted only for our party, but MLAs they just shift to different parties. But we want to say the particular MLAs and MPs should not be allowed to go to different parties. They should be disqualified at the early stage itself.
Yes. I mean, you can make the anti-defection law stronger, you can disqualify them, but remember one thing. In order to do that, you need parliament. And you're not going to get parliament right now.
Yes, sir.
So I agree with that idea. But again, even to enforce that idea, we need the institutional structure. We don't have it. So now India is entering a phase very much like when we were fighting the British, that we cannot rely on the institutions to protect our democracy anymore. There is only one place where we on whom we can rely, and that is the people of the country. There's no other place. And I say this with all seriousness because I've been dealing with this problem and I firsthand see the depth of this problem. Absolutely, we should have laws that don't allow MLAs to move. But first, we need a functioning parliament. We need a judiciary that's not completely penetrated by the RSS and the BJP. We need a press that raises this issue and says, listen, look, our Madhya Pradesh government goes and it is essentially bought. Nobody in the media says anything. Our government in Arunachal goes, it is bought. Nobody says anything. We need today, if the Congress party wants to win an election, the only way to win the election is if it has a 2/3 majority. If it wins the election by 10, 15 seats, it's not a win, it's a loss. Because BJP just comes, buys the people and has its own government. That's what we are facing. And I'm sure you're also feeling it in your work. And you can see it in the nation. As people who are questioning and challenging the RSS, BJP are threatened, pushed around. I'm lucky. I'm lucky because there is nothing that they have on me. That's why I'm lucky. Because I had the good sense through my whole political career to be an honest person. That's why they can't touch me. There's nothing they can do to me. Right? That's why I can speak to you. Because no ED, no CBI, no nothing is going to affect me. And that's also why, by the way, that 24/7 the BJP attacks me. Because they understand very well that this man is not corrupt and we have no leverage on this man.
Okay, next question is from K. Raja Prabhakaran, advocate from Madurai. Is he here in the audience?
Respected sir, there is a provision in the Industrial Dispute Act about the unfair labor practice, right? Employing the employee for more than 8 hours duty and employ him and company him in other than the recruited and appointed post. And there is a provision also in punishing the employee. But till date...
In punishing the employer.
Employer, yeah, I have corrected, yes. Till date, not even the press or not in the press, not a single employee is punished under this act. Can we discuss this point in Parliament for effective implementation of this act?
I'm happy to discuss that in Parliament.
Thank you,
We can
sir.
do that and I'll raise it for you if you want. It is also an indication of the concentration of power in this country. It's an indication of the concentration of finance in this country. Look, essentially, as I said in Parliament, 4 people are running this country. 4. Right? That's all. Hum do, hamare do. And everywhere these 4 people's imprint is there.
Yes. Ms. Vanaja is here. Question.
நான் வந்து தமிழ்லேயே பேசுகிறேன். ஜட்ஜஸ்லாம் பிறகு வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டிஸ் வாங்கிட்டு இப்போ அவங்க மேலே வந்துடுறாங்க. இதில் என்ன சிக்கல்னா, ஜட்ஜஸ் வந்து ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் ஆனதுக்கு பிறகு பொலிட்டிக்ஸில் வந்தீங்கன்னா மக்களுக்கு என்ன விதமான ஒரு நியாயம் கிடைக்கும்? அதான் என்னுடைய கேள்வி.
Question is about post-retirement sinecures for judges. They accept political appointments from the government after they retire.
Yeah. And we've seen examples of this, where judges take decisions that the government wants, and then they are given plum posts. Would you like to just translate that? Would you just like to translate it for her? Oh, okay. So, and we've seen examples of this. I think at a minimum, we should have a cooling off period of a certain amount of years where judges cannot be given these type of posts, at a minimum. Because otherwise the whole incentive structure is in question. If the judge is going to be given a plum post after 3 or 4 cases, it will influence how he takes those decisions. So I think at a minimum we should do that. What would you like?
I agree.
But would you like to add anything to what I said?
No,
Nothing?
nothing.
Okay.
Next question is from S. Annadurai, Advocate Rani Pet.
Sir, your views on women reservation bill in parliament and assemblies.
My view is reflected in this room. I am having to look carefully. 1, 2, 3. I am having to look very carefully to find the ladies. And I think that in every institution in our country, we need to have more women, and we need to give them more space. So I'm fully for women's reservation. I would like to see more and more women in the judicial system. And of course, I'm for women's reservation in Parliament and Vidhan Sabhas. But let me say, you need more than reservation. Indian men need to change the way they look at Indian women. And we can keep doing reservation. But unless Indian men start to view Indian women with the same lens that they view themselves, the real change is not going to happen. Do you agree with me? No? So I think it is also it's giving women positions, creating the atmosphere where women can get the positions, but it is also changing our attitude. And it's not only in the judicial system, it's across the country, in every space, because women, with all due respect to my brothers here, women in India are treated very badly by men.
Okay, the next question is pertinent to all of us here about laws delays by Z. Rizwan Hussain.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
And we see that many cases are pending in the courts, millions of them. And litigants spend their entire lifetime running from pillar to post, expecting justice, sometimes 2 generations, 3 generations. So, in my opinion, there must be a process where justice can be given speedily. So, when you come to power, God willing, how do you plan to deal with this?
You probably understand the judicial system. All of you understand it better than I do. But as an outsider looking in, I think increasing the number of judges would be one thing that would be useful. Making sure that at the lower levels, our judicial process moves faster. That would be another thing we could do. What are the type of things that you would suggest?
Yeah, there should be some time limit for the cases, and judges, more judges like you said, and also appeal process. So there is lot of appeals and appeals. So this should be shortened so that people can get justice.
Yeah.
So this is what I think.
Why are there so many appeals?
I think that's the opportunity given. Appeals are because there is dissatisfaction on
Right.
the judgments.
So it just goes on, it drags the whole process on.
So there are a lot of loopholes that are exploited.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. But do you think that we need to sort of look at the judicial system and have a sort of broader reform of the judicial system?
Yes, that's necessary.
That we should sit down and sort of once and for all sort of do some big picture things to the judicial system?
Yes, and I'm sure that will happen when you come to power.
Well, we'll try.
Yes, we are with you.
Thank you.
உடனுக்குடன் செய்திகளை தெரிந்து கொள்ள சன் நியூஸ் பெல் ஐகானை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க.